Welcome to the Real Lost Boss podcast.
Hello, welcome to episode 24 of the Real Lost Boss podcast, building weight loss into your life. So you might have heard me say something on a previous podcast or any other content you've seen of mine on social media, or if you tune into any of my social media lives. One of my regular sayings is, if you are trying to lose weight or you need to lose weight and you are either trying to live your life or lose weight, you will fail at both. And what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of people go to extremes when it comes to weight loss. And, we all have a life to live. We all want to live, a happy life, a life that we enjoy. And I just think too many of us, including me over the years where I've tried to lose weight, we're just so cut and shut when it comes to weight loss. And when we go into a weight loss phase or we start a new diet, as it were, we literally just kind of trying to eradicate life or eradicate things that actually bring us a little bit of joy, like it's a punishment. Now, from that saying, if you either try and live life or lose weight, so you choose between the both, you're going to fail at both. And that basically means that, if you're just going to live your life, you ain't going to lose any weight. If you're not willing to, make any changes, make any compromises, that's a big word, you're never going to lose any weight, and you're going to fail at life because you're going to be constantly unhappy with your current weight situation. If you then go on a weight loss journey, and by going onto that weight loss journey, you are literally, never going to eat a takeaway ever again, never going to drink alcohol ever again. I'm not saying you need to drink alcohol, but these are things that people sacrifice that they might enjoy doing. Never going to go on a holiday, never going to go out for a meal, never even going to eat a piece of chocolate ever again because I need to lose weight. Well, you're going to fail at your weight loss journey. Why? Because you're over restricting yourself. We over restrict ourselves way too much when it comes to weight loss. We put ourselves into a weight loss jail. Now, I've never been to a real jail, but I assume people that have been to a real jail, their main focus is to get out. So if you put yourself into a weight loss jail, you're going to try and break out of it. And breaking out of a weight loss jail is then having your takeaway, which you can do. You know that. Well, hopefully you do by previous, like I say, podcasts you might have watched of mine, or just if you follow me a long time on social media. But, as soon as you have your first takeaway, when saying I'm never going to eat a takeaway ever again, as soon as you go out for your first meal or go and have a bit of a night out, or as soon as you go on holiday, you can't fit the way you're trying to lose weight into those things, and your weight loss journey ends way before you get anywhere near your weight loss goal. So, what do we have to do? What is the solution? Well, you need to build weight loss into your life. Now, obviously, there is a lot of things that we maybe do in life that contributes towards our weight issue. So I'm not saying you don't need to make changes. Of course you do. And that word, I'm going to say again, compromise. So if you do things in life that you probably really enjoy doing at the time, but they are going to have an impact on your weight loss journey, then with those things, you do need to make a compromise. You should never feel like you're making a sacrifice. Like I said about being in a weight loss jail, if you feel like you're making a sacrifice, you're going to feel overly restricted. And, something we need to accept is we do have to shuffle the weight loss priority pack. Why? Because we just can't stick to what we need to do week in, week out for the length of time we need to do it. And this is sort of the big reason why we need to build our weight loss journey into our lifestyle. A lot of people don't want to hear this, and a lot of people don't want to accept it. And the main reason why you don't want to hear this or you don't want to accept it is the previous ways you've tried to lose weight. You know, what is in your mindset when it comes to weight loss? Like I say, that weight loss jail. And, you know, I'm always very honest. And basically for me, to lose a pound of body fat, you need to be in a 3,500 calorie deficit. And I put most of my clients, and I recommend you watching this if you're not one of my clients, that you attempt to go into a 3,500 calorie deficit per week. So you consume 3,500 calories less than your overall calorie burn. That will equal, on average, 1 pound of body fat a week. And that means over a year, you're going to lose about 4 stone in weight. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're currently 30 stone or 20 stone or 15 stone. If you lose 4 stone in a year, that is good weight loss. Now, don't get me wrong. The heavier you are, you can lose more than a pound a week on average, healthily and sustainably. But still, you know, if you're currently 30 stone, in 3 years' time, if you lose a pound a week on average, you're going to be 18 stone. That is a massive change. A massive change. So I don't really care who you are. I don't care what your goal is. If you're going on a weight loss journey, your mindset should be however many pounds you've got to lose, you should be prepared for it to take you that many weeks. Like I say, if you are in a situation where you can lose weight a bit quicker, healthily and sustainably, then that's just a bonus. And to be honest with you, if you manage to lose weight a little bit quicker than a pound a week on average, and you do that healthily and sustainably, you get to your goal, that is all good. But I'm talking in a bit of a generic way. For most people, a pound a week on average is absolutely spot on. What do we mean by healthily and sustainably? Well, like I've just said there, not feeling like you're in a weight loss jail, not overly restricting yourself, allowing yourself a little bit of freedom here and there. Healthy also comes down to what your overall diet is, what you do on a day-to-day basis, what your lifestyle is like, of course. And the sustainability bit is the weight loss jail bit. And if you lose weight in the right way, you won't care that if you've got 50 pounds to lose, it takes you a year. If you've got 100 pounds to lose, it takes you 100 weeks, which is nearly 2 years. Like I say, why that can be a little bit overwhelming thinking of the journey being that long is, the way we've lost weight in the past. Because trust me, if I was trying to lose weight now by going to Slimming World and trying to stick to 12 or 15 sins a day, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that for 100 weeks. Not very many people do. If I was trying to lose weight at the moment by having a little shake for my breakfast, a little shake for my lunch, and a little bit of grilled chicken and veg for my tea, yeah, I wouldn't be sticking to my weight loss journey for 100 weeks either. And we can say that about any fad diet. I have talked on previous podcasts, I think episode 22, I've talked about, the issue with fad diets. And it is that over restriction. It is a common trend in them. And yeah, I don't want to not eat carbs for 2 years. I don't want to intermittent fast for 2 years. I don't want to just drink shakes for 2 years. I get it. If you follow my philosophies on weight loss, then however long your weight loss journey is going to take should just be however long it's going to take, and it shouldn't be overwhelming. And I get there's other factors why we want to lose weight quicker, because when you've been at something for so long, and a lot of people have when it comes to their weight loss, and you've failed for so long, it builds up massive impatience in us. So there's other factors, but when you finally start losing weight in a healthy and sustainable fashion, and you have this clean break, you need to reset and you need to try and forget everything you've done. If you're starting today, or you start on Monday, or whenever you're going to start your weight loss journey, and you're going to follow my philosophies when it comes to weight loss, you got to really try and reset and erase your hard drive. Very hard to. I'm not saying it isn't. And just try and go into it with a bit more fresh thinking. So, building your weight loss into your everyday life. if you've got £100 to lose and it's going to take 100 weeks, in 100 weeks, we still need to do things that we enjoy. We have to. And again, this is where a lot of people cut this out. So how do we build the things that we enjoy into our lifestyle? A lot of it's down to mentality. It's how we approach the journey. So what I do with my own weight loss, what I do with my clients is I give my clients an ideal calorie deficit. There's lots of different tangents I could go off on here. I'm going to try and keep it reasonably compact, as it were. But I suppose I'll also talk about how I do it. And, you know, I'm not a special person. I know we need to find our own little, you know, what's the word? Niches or little things that work for us, because not one rule that works for one will not work for others. But what I mean by that is my philosophy, the basics of it will work for everybody. You can then just manipulate it into your own journey. Okay. So, and this is something I've done from the very start of my weight loss journey. Now that has evolved over time as I've learned more, as I've tweaked things and changed things. And, you know, as I've become to understand weight loss a lot more. And obviously I've worked now in terms of people that have joined my community, people that have come on a one-to-one plan with me, you know, in the online field, I've worked with well over 1,000 people now. So I've got so much experience, and, you know, my philosophies or my basic philosophies will never change, but have my thought processes on different things that I've done in the past. Yeah, of course they have. Of course they have. And I will always evolve my coaching so you get the best. By the way, if you want to get involved with either my community or my one-to-one weight loss plan, I will put all the details in the description of this video. You do not need to lose weight on your own. You do not need to struggle. You can get support from me. You can get support from my community. There's over 400 people in there now, and it really is a fantastic place to be if you are trying to lose weight, especially if you are taking on board the advice I am giving you. So from the start of my weight loss journey, I've always tried to do it different. And what I mean by that is every method I've tried in the past where I've failed, like I said, I've tried to reset the hard drive, wipe it clean, and just go, no, if that's not worked in the past, why is it going to work now? So I've tried to do it in different ways. And one of the big things that I did was, you know, just accepted that certain things are going to happen in life that are going to, you know, prioritize. How am I trying to say this? That are going to shuffle the priority pack of weight loss. That's what I mean. So certain things are going to happen in life where that is more important than weight loss is for that small period of time. Okay. So when I started my weight loss journey, I started beginning of February 2014. I've just had my 10-year anniversary. And I did February, I did March, I did April, I did May, all swimmingly good. And in June, I went on my first ever holiday. One of my best friends lives in the Alps in France, and he'd been there maybe 18 months, 2 years. I'd never been over to see him. I was always a little bit underconfident because of where he lived. My mobility was very poor, but just 4 or 5 months into my weight loss journey, my mobility had increased or improved. It gave me the confidence to go. So we were chatting on the phone, and he literally said to me, you know, "Hey mate, what's going on?" And I said, "You know, I'm going to come over and see you." He went, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to come over and see you." So I did. So I booked some tickets and jumped on the plane. I didn't technically jump on the plane, but went on the plane. Just about fit into the plane seat. You know, I'm only 4 or 5 months into my journey. I'd lost a bit of weight, but not loads. And went out to see him. And for about a week before going on this holiday, I was really in conflict with myself because, you know, yes, I'd not overly restricted myself from the start of my journey. I still had a takeaway once, sometimes once, twice a week, as it were. Still went to the pub on a Friday night and had a few beers with my mates. Only two or three, about 4 pints, something like that. But again, compromises. I'll go into that a bit more shortly. But, this was the first time where I went for 4 nights. My mate's a bit of a boozer. He also likes his food as well. So I knew it was going to be eating. I knew it was going to be drinking. And I was just, quite conflicted. I didn't know what to do. And in the end, I just said to myself, do you know what? Just go and enjoy it, right? You've not seen him for a couple of years. He's one of your best friends. Don't worry about it. Don't be greedy for the sake of being greedy. And to be fair, if anyone's ever been to Courchevel in France, I mean, this was over summer we went, it wasn't in ski season, but it is that expensive. You can't be greedy anyway. So yeah, I suppose that did help with the calorie control a little bit, but he lived there. He knew the little bars that you could go to that weren't, stupidly expensive. But at the time, 2014, I'm talking 10 years ago, you were still paying €5 to €7 a pint. It's probably the norm now for a lot of places. But back then, I was used to going to Benidorm where it's €1 a pint. It still is €1 a pint now. But yeah, going somewhere where, and even in my local pub 10 years ago, it was probably $3.50 a pint. So to go somewhere where it's £5 or £6 a pint, you're like, wow. And some bars, I remember it now, it was like €10 a pint. Anyway, that's by the by. So I went, I didn't worry about what I was eating. I didn't really think of calories, had a few beers every day, had a night out, actually went to my first Michelin-starred restaurant, which was amazing. And it was a great time. And do you know what? I came back from holiday and I just got straight back into my journey. At the time, I had no idea the weight I gained on holiday. Obviously, I know a lot more now. A lot of it will have been water weight, but I didn't weigh myself. I didn't weigh myself until the October. So 6-7 weeks after coming back from France, no, maybe 8 weeks. No, it doesn't really matter, does it? But yeah, a couple of months after coming back from that holiday in France, I went on holiday again. 9 nights, I think I went for. And I went with another very good friend of mine, Matt, and we went to Benidorm for 9 nights. And again, I didn't worry about what I was eating. I certainly wasn't 37 stone, Neil, in Benidorm. I was, holding myself back a little bit from what I used to be like. But again, drinking beers every day, eating more unhealthier foods, not really worrying too much about what I was eating or drinking. But as soon as I got back from that holiday, bang, straight back into doing what I was doing. In the October of that year was the first time I weighed myself and I lost £100. And that sort of said to me, you can live your life while losing weight. Because not only did I have those 2 holidays, I certainly, just from memory, certainly celebrated a couple of friends' birthdays. I certainly, struggled the odd week a little bit with my eating where it might have just got away with me a little bit. But the important thing was, if I ever had a period, whether it was just a night out where I was consuming quite a few more calories, or I had those 2 holidays, I got straight back into doing what I was doing. And when I weighed myself in that October, I went to the doctors, got the scales, I'd lost £100. It was the big switch for me, and it was a big change in my whole relationship with weight loss, because I analysed it. I've talked about this before in previous podcasts, but I analysed it and I was like, wow, I've lost £100 and I've had 1 or 2 takeaways a week. I've been to the pub most Friday nights and had a couple of pints with my mates. I've enjoyed a couple of holidays. I've also had a couple of big nights out celebrating some friends' birthdays, and I've still lost £100. And it just showed me that I could live my life. Now, don't get me wrong, if I hadn't had those 2 holidays, if I hadn't gone on some nights out, if I hadn't had a couple of takeaways still a week, if I hadn't gone to the pub on a Friday night and had, 4 pints and maybe the odd bag of pork scratchings, I might have lost 120, £130. But would I have even got to 10 months in through over restricting myself? Because when I look back now, if I had done any other diet, as soon as I'd gone to France, and that was the first time I was sort of tested with my mentality around weight loss and this new sort of philosophy I had of just, not being as restrictive, not doing what I'd done in the past. I look back now, if I got gone to France in a Slimming World mindset, there was no way I was going to fit that. Now I could, yes, have gone, right, well, let's just not do Slimming World for 4 days and we'll get back to the Slimming World routine. But when you do Slimming World, because they don't tell you that, you don't think of it. It's the same with any other fad diet. There isn't any flexibility whatsoever. So, first thing that we need to understand, and if we're going to build weight loss into our lifestyle, is there is no such thing as a perfect weight loss journey. You need to be consistent to have a successful weight loss journey, but consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about doing what we need to do more often than not. And if I look at that February up until the end of October when I weighed myself and I lost that £100, let's just call it 9 months. So in 9 months, 9 times 30 on average for days is 270 days. Right? So just from memory now, I had 10 days in Benidorm, let's call it 10, 9 nights, 10 days, right? So that's 10 days. I had 4 nights in France, let's call it 5 days. That's 15. I'm not counting the fact that I did have a takeaway and a couple of bits because I built that into my lifestyle and I just built that into my calories, as it were. But times where I just went, weight loss isn't a priority. I'm just going to enjoy myself on holiday or go for a night out. And then I might have had another 5 or 6 nights, let's say. So let's say 20 nights in or 20 days in total where weight loss was, it's nothing, is it? It's not even 10%. So over those 10 months, I spent less than 10% of that time doing what I wanted. So the fact that I spent over 90% being more controlled my calories, being more responsible with my calories. And that's the important thing. And I say this now to my clients. And again, my philosophy on this will never, ever change. You can have these little pockets, these little snippets of enjoying yourself. But the important thing is you get back to doing what you do when it's over. Cut off date, restart date. And it's something I do now. Christmas this year, my Christmas this year was a little bit longer than I would normally have it because I had a few bits going on right before Christmas. So my cut-off date at Christmas was the 20th of December. My restart date was the 1st of January. And although the 1st of January was New Year's Day and I didn't really stick to a calorie deficit for that day, I did stick to a calorie deficit for that week. And I still tracked on New Year's Day, even though I was eating more calorific, calorie dense, more unhealthier foods. So I still treated it as my restart. So the fact that I went from the 20th of December to the 1st of January, kind of doing what I want, straight back at it. Yeah, jumped on the scales 1st of January, 8.8 pounds up from Christmas. Within 10 days, my first official check-in of 2024, 7.6 pounds of that has gone. And up to now, we're 7 weeks into 2024, and I'm 13.5 pounds down, and I'm lighter now than I was before Christmas. So the fact that I've had this little 10, 12 days of doing whatever I wanted, it's just a little pause button. So we do need to accept that there are going to be certain times in life where weight loss does not need to be the priority. And we just kind of need to accept that. Now, planning, is kind of fail to plan, plan to fail, as it were. Another regular saying of mine. And if you do have nights out here and there, weekends, you can actually build that into a calorie deficit. So I've already spoke about this in this podcast where most of my clients are in a 3,500 calorie deficit per week. And that equals 1 pound of fat loss on average. All right. Weight loss isn't linear. So scales will fluctuate. And it doesn't mean that if you get on the scales every week, you'll lose a pound. If you get on the scales every 2 weeks, you'll definitely lose 2 pounds. It will always, there'll always be some varying results. But over time, on average, if we look at a journey over 3 months to 6 months, although the scales will fluctuate each time you get on them, If you're in a 3,500 calorie deficit on average and you're being consistent, yeah, over 3 months, you should be around about a stone down in weight. Over 6 months, you should be around about 2 stone down in weight, and so on and so forth. Now, that 3,500 calorie deficit, or your calorie allowance to put you into a 3,500 calorie deficit, so you burn 17,500 calories in a week, which means that more weeks than not, if you want a successful weight loss journey, you're going to try and stick to 14,000 calories. 2,000 calories a day on average, 14,000 calories over a week. We have to plan, we have to look ahead, and we have to make our calories work for us. So a 3,500 calorie deficit will lose a pound of body fat on average. If you go into a 1,750 calorie deficit, you'll lose half a pound on average. It's still fat loss. And sometimes we just need, and again, this is a big part of building weight loss into your lifestyle. Sometimes we just need to look ahead. And when we've got something on, it can be a case of adjusting calories during the week, so we bank a few more for that event, or we just give ourselves a slightly smaller deficit for the odd week. Some weeks you might give yourself no deficit whatsoever and eat your calorie maintenance, which gives you an extra 3,500 calories, right? Some weeks I recommend no more than 4. 2's ideal for this, but certainly no more than 4. Some weeks you're just going to do what you want. Because again, there's always going to be times where you just need to consume more calories than you burn. Christmas is a prime example. A week all inclusive in Tenerife is another one. No, not one of you, right? Certainly, I don't want any of my clients doing this. You work hard, you save up, you pay your money. When you go to, and I'm not saying you need to eat stupid amounts of calories on purpose to have a good time, but your focus when you go on holiday is chilling your beans, getting a tan, having a laugh, making memories with your family or whoever you're going with, taking some nice pictures, enjoying some nice food. This is my idea of a perfect holiday. Is top me tan up, have a relax, listen to a couple of nice, audio books, have a few cocktails, have a dip in the pool, have a few games of pool volleyball. My priority is not weight loss whatsoever. And, that should be the same for you if you're watching this now. So yeah, plan ahead. Look at the week ahead. So when would it be, if I've got a Wednesday night, not a Wednesday, well, it might be a Wednesday night. If I've got a night out during the week or at weekends, whatever, I don't know why I said a Wednesday. Maybe because I'm recording this on a Wednesday. But if I've got a night out, let's say on a Saturday, so I look at the week ahead, and I do this every either Sunday afternoon or Monday morning. I just have a little glance ahead. It takes a second. It doesn't take ages. What have I got going on this week? Nothing. And I haven't done this so far in 2024. It's been a very chilled out time. But what have I got going on? If I've got nothing going on, it's just business as usual. This is my ideal calorie deficit. I'm going to try and bank a few calories Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'll take that into the weekend, and then that gives me some extra food freedom and flexibility at weekend to enjoy those calories. If I look on a Saturday at the week ahead and I've got a night out, so I've got whatever, Auntie Barbara's 60th on Saturday night, or Chantel's 30th on Saturday night, or just a date night with your partner or your husband or your wife. It doesn't matter. You've got something on. You then need to say to yourself, right, I've got this going on. Can I fit that into my ideal calorie deficit? So let's say you are burning 17,500 calories a week. So your ideal calorie deficit is 14,000 calories. You have 2,000 calories a day on average. You normally bank about 200 a day. So you eat 1,800 Monday to Friday. That gives you an extra 1,000 for the weekend. So you can have 2,500 on Saturday, 2,500 on Sunday. Can I build that into my ideal deficit? Well, do you know what? Instead of eating 1,800 calories Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to have 1,600. Might feel a bit restrictive, but eye on the prize. If I do that, I'm going to bank 2,000 calories. That means I've then got on Saturday 3,250, and on Sunday I've got 2,750. Can I fit a date night out with my partner, with my husband, with my wife? Nice meal, few drinks, maybe a cheeky McDonald's breakfast Sunday morning because we have a couple of glasses of wine. I would say yes, you can. Like I say, you might just need to plan a little bit more, be a little bit more restrictive during the week to bank those extra calories. But it's the same that week. You might be like, because we've got a night out, we're spending nothing during the week. We normally have takeaway Tuesday or whatever that you build into your allowance, and you go, no, we're not having takeaway Tuesday. That'll save us 40 quid. And it's the same with your calories. If you look at the week ahead and you're like, oh, it's going to be tight, you might have an all-day wedding on Saturday, right? Wedding season will be coming up soon. We've got two. We've got one in May and one in June. Didn't have a wedding last year, but I've got two coming up this year. So I'm going to look at my week ahead, right? I still want to lose some body fat that week, but I'm also fully aware I've got a wedding, which is going to be a little bit boozy, a little bit foody. So am I going to be able to bank enough calories? I can bank enough calories probably for a night out and fit that into my ideal deficit. All day wedding might be a bit tougher. So I'm going to halve my deficit instead of, let's say we're using the example of your ideal deficit is 14,000 calories a week. I'm actually going to give myself an extra 250 a day. 1,750 calories over the week. Now, you don't need to use that during the week. You might combine that with eating, instead of 1,800 a day, 1,700 a day. So you bank 1,500 Monday to Friday. You've then halved your deficit. So then going into the weekend, you've got your 2,000 Saturday, 2,000 Sunday, plus another 4,000 calories. Can you fit that into your planned? Yeah, of course I can. I can go out. Always drink responsibly, kids. But I can go out and get hammered at my wedding and have a few glasses of Prosecco and, have a couple of beers and have the cheap, apple cider vinegar wine that's on the table, and I can enjoy my soup and my roast beef and my cheesecake for pudding. Right, can have a little boogie and then go and get my little curry and chips at night time for the nighttime food. Yeah, I can enjoy all that. Great. Still gonna lose half a pound of body fat. You're just building your weight loss journey into your life. Like I said, there's always going to be times where you can't stick to a calorie deficit, so you might go into a calorie maintenance. Again, if we use the example of eating 17,500 calories a week, you burn 17,500 calories a week, so you normally eat 14,000 calories a week, eat 17,500. You're not going to lose any body fat that week, but guess what? You're not going to gain any either. Your weight might go up a little bit because you're eating more calories than you would do normally, which is going to increase water weight and food weight within the body. If those calories are then spent on more unhealthy foods, that might increase a bit of water retention, but that'll all be gone in a couple of days. So just leave the scales alone, but you won't gain any body fat. And this is how I've built. Now, for the first couple of years of my weight loss journey, I didn't count calories. I didn't even know what MyFitnessPal was, and I now use NutriCheck, which is by far for me the best calorie counting app there is out there. By the way, if you do come into my community or come on my one-to-one plan, I am an ambassador for NutriCheck. I'm not allowed to give the code out into social media. They don't want me to do that, but I am allowed to give it out to my community. So if you are tempted to use NutriCheck, you can get a really good deal by coming on board with me. But yeah, I didn't track calories for this. I didn't know what they were. I used MyFitnessPal at the start, and I used MyFitnessPal for about 6 years, and I then moved on to NutriCheck, which I absolutely love. Like I say, it's probably the best calorie counting app there is out there. And the first couple of years, I was shooting in the dark a little bit, but I was in a big calorie deficit. I was eating the same amount of calories then pretty much as I do now, even though I was 18 stone heavier. I do move quite a bit more now than I did back then, but still, I was probably, I had more margin for error with my deficit because my deficit was a lot bigger. Now it's smaller I do need to be a little bit more accountable, and counting my calories using an app really helps me to do that. And then from using a calorie counting app, this is where I've developed this. So I've always had this kind of freedom where if I've got something going on, in 2014, 2015, the first couple of years of my weight loss journey, if I had a night out, I just had a night out. I didn't track calories daily. I used to eat, I did track calories daily, sorry. I didn't use this philosophy of weekly calories and looking at it as a daily average. This is something that's evolved over time, which I just find absolutely fantastic. Brilliant way to look at your calories. Again, for flexibility and freedom of your eating. I used to eat 2,500 calories a day. Apart from Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, I allowed myself a little treat at night time. If every now and then Saturday night was, a friend's birthday and there was a big night out, or there was something going on in the pub that I wanted to go to, again, I just, instead of having a treat night on a Friday and a treat night on a Sunday, I'd just go out Saturday and just go and enjoy myself. But when I started counting calories, this is where I started looking at things with a little bit more structure. And honestly, it just makes the journey so much more pleasant. Because a lot of people always say to me, do you not struggle getting back at it after a holiday? Why am I going to struggle getting back to my journey? Because I don't find it that taxing. I'm not missing out on anything. Whether I'm losing weight or maintaining my weight, I allow myself a takeaway once a week. Like I say, you're only ever going to really struggle being consistent, or you should only ever struggle being consistent with the journey if it's over restricting you. Now, my philosophy, there's some boundaries, there has to be, but it is so flexible and you have so much freedom. I think some people struggle with that a little bit, I'll be honest with you. And I think that's because in the past we've always used fad diets. I've talked about this before. But, first week after Christmas, I'm sat there going, I'm going to have a doner kebab on Saturday night. So it's not like, right, Christmas is done, now I'm just going to eat lettuce and grilled chicken for the next. No, 4 days, 5 days after Christmas, I'm having a doner kebab from my local takeaway, because that was the takeaway I fancied that week. And I just built it into my calories. Manipulating your calories, it might sound a little bit complicated and overwhelming. It really isn't. It's like anything. If you've never done it before, when you first started using any social media like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, it will have been daunting. It will have been like, whoa, what is going on here? The more you do it, the easier it gets. It's like anything. At some point in time, every single person watching this, couldn't walk. But, or if you've got kids now and you watch a walk, first, they start standing up and they're all over the place, like me after 10 pints. And then they start, and then they sort of one foot in front of the other, then they hit the deck. Within a couple of weeks, they're running around like crazy. So at first, actually walking somewhere might seem a little bit daunting. Within a couple of weeks of regularly trying to put one foot in front of the other, next thing they're all over the place, right? Magical moment. Oh, little Johnny's took his first steps. Within 6 months, you're cursing it because he's in all the cupboards and he's running around. Where has he gone? And get here, right? But it might sound daunting, but once you get used to tracking calories, looking at your journey, planning a bit more, honestly, it makes it absolutely fantastic. And it will eradicate a lot of guilt. It just does, because when you set yourself a realistic calorie amount each week, and that might be, like I say, your current ideal deficit, it might be giving yourself an extra 1,000 calories, an extra 1,500 calories, going into your calorie maintenance for a week, going on holiday and going, do you know what? I've been ace for 6 months. I'm going to Tenerife, I'm going to enjoy myself. You don't feel guilty because everything fits in. You'll never ever feel guilty about spending money on anything if you can genuinely afford it. If it's just, I've saved up for it, I've got it, I can. And that's the same with eating food or any type of, calories you're going to spend. Even if it's not just a single meal, it might be a whole week of going on holiday. if you've been fantastic for 6 months, you've been nice and consistent, you've seen some great results on the scales, you've created a healthier relationship with food, a healthier relationship with weight loss, when you go and have your week, I mean, maybe the first time because it's a bit of an unknown entity, as it were, but when you have your first week away and you realize you can enjoy it, and then you realize that, very similar to enjoying your first Christmas, yeah, you're going to gain a bit of weight. It's fine, it's natural, it's part of the journey. If you get back to doing what you do straight away, that weight will soon disappear. That will create this positive, healthy relationship with going away. Just like when you have a takeaway every week, you start your weight loss journey. I've never eaten takeaways on my weight loss journey. I feel really guilty having a kebab, having a pizza, having fish and chips, right? And then, over 3 months, you've lost a stone in weight. You've lost 16, 17, 18 pounds in weight, and you sit back and go, do you know what? I've lost 16, 17 pounds and I've enjoyed a takeaway every week. This is what creates this healthy relationship with food, weight loss. And that's because you're building things into your life. You're building weight loss into your life. We do have to understand the only thing that makes us overweight is consuming more calories than we burn over a consistent period of time. The only thing that makes us lose body fat consistently is consuming less calories than we burn over a period of time. And that's what is important, that period of time. It's not individual little segments that causes the issue. It's what we do over time. So building your weight loss into your life is a case of just understanding, things that you might do on a regular basis that is going to cause you weight issues. So this might be going on the smash every weekend. This might be eating 20 takeaways a week. You need to make compromises, not sacrifices, compromises. So I went from probably eating, if I count McDonald's breakfast, getting a bacon butty at work, because it is a takeaway, getting a Greg's at dinner time or fish and chips, and then getting takeaways at night time. Pre-weight loss journey, I probably ate knocking on 10 takeaways a week. If I just count stuff where I didn't make stuff at home. So like I say, that might have been a McDonald's breakfast, it might have been a KFC, it might have been getting a Chinese and taking it home, or it might have been just going to a butty shop at lunchtime or getting fish and chips at lunchtime or something like that. I probably had 10 a week. I reduced that to a 2, right? 1 or 2. Most weeks it was 2. Most weeks I had fish and chips I didn't have chips actually. I had a chippy tea, I always call it, on a Wednesday night. I used to get a large lightly battered fish and peas. And then on a Sunday night, I had a Chinese, and I used to get a main course and an egg fried rice. So I went from eating probably 10 takeaways a week to whatever I wanted, no control, no portion control, none of that, to having 2 a week with some control. And that was the compromise. And it didn't feel like a sacrifice. I'm still enjoying a chippy tea. I'm still enjoying a Chinese. And do you know what? I enjoyed it more than I've ever enjoyed a takeaway in my life. Why? No guilt. And that's how I built having a takeaway into my life. I never felt overly restricted with it. I used to go to the pub on Fridays, most weeks for as long as I can remember pre-weight loss, and I used to get smashed, right? I used to, depending on what time I finished work, but I normally was done in work for lunchtime on a Friday. I'd get home, maybe have some lunch, maybe play my Xbox for a bit, have a shower, but most Fridays I could be in the pub by 3, 4 o'clock, and sometimes I won't leave till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. When I started my weight loss journey, the pub was my main social interaction, and I didn't want to lose that. Now, over time, I developed other social interactions through going to the gym and stuff like that, but at the start of it, it was still the pub. I knew I couldn't go out and get smashed all day on a Friday. A, I didn't have the calories to do that, and B, the fact that then when I'm hungover on a Saturday and I just wanted to eat absolute junk food, again, ain't going to sort out my weight loss. And I also understood that, or recognized that consuming way too much alcohol was really bad for my mental health. So I still went to the pub. I used to go on a Friday night. I used to go at a normal time. I used to go at 8 p.m. I used to leave about 10 p.m. I'd have 4 pints of Coors Light and most weeks a bag of pork scratchings. That was my treat for Friday night, a compromise. I didn't feel like I was missing out on everything. Within 2 hours of going to the pub on a Friday night, I was still catching up with my friends because previously, by the time I was going out at the start of my weight loss journey at 8 p.m, normally I was that drunk by 8 p.m. I couldn't remember what happened after 8 p.m. anyway. So it didn't make a jot of difference. I'd go out on a Friday night, I'd have a couple of pints. I wouldn't feel hungover the next day. I wouldn't have any issues controlling my calories. I was still seeing my friends. I was still having social interaction. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It actually turned what was a very negative place for me, which was the pub, into quite a positive place. And at the start, yeah, I get me, mate, oh, don't go home, don't be so boring, blah, blah, blah. But no, I stuck to my guns, went in, had me 4 pints, maybe had a bag of pork scratchings on pint 4, boom, went home. Those are the compromises I made. I will have made others, but those were sort of some main ones around my old lifestyle and creating this new lifestyle, building weight loss into my life. Still having a takeaway, still going to the pub, but just doing it a lot more responsibly. Then, like I say, it was all about planning. It was, understanding I could have the odd night out. And I was probably quite restrictive with that for the first couple of years, certainly the first year of my weight loss journey. And did I make some sacrifices the first? Yes, I did. And that's why I had to change things to keep the journey sustainable, to keep going. But when I grew into my weight loss journey and I started tracking calories and started understanding a bit more about the laws of thermodynamics and calorie deficits and this, that, and the other, and then started to plan. If you think planning, like I've just talked about, is overwhelming, again, come on board with me, either join my community or come fully onto the one-to-one plan. And it's certainly if you're on the one-to-one plan, I can do it for you. I have so many clients that message me when they're checking in and say, right, next week I've got this. How would I structure my calories for it? I'll do it for you. Or do you know what? April's a manic month for me. I've got this, this, and this. What should I do? I'll teach you what to do. I'll tell you how you need to look at it. It's all about staying positive. So yeah, some forward planning, making my calories work for you, work for me. You need to make your calories work for you. And then just understanding that a weight loss journey isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. And at certain points in time, weight loss doesn't need to be the priority at certain points in time. Yes, it needs to be the priority over a long period of time, but that is where that consistency comes in. It's about doing what you need to do, not perfectly, but more often than not. So that is how you build weight loss into your everyday life. Yes, it still takes some effort. It takes a bit of planning. You've still got to, you'll always have to, whatever way you decide to lose weight, you'll always have to have some sort of willpower, and you'll always have to use that word no in your mind. But if you give yourself that flexibility, that extra bit of freedom that you can't get on any fad diet, it will make the journey a lot more pleasurable, if I'm being honest with you. Whatever you put in, it should be worth what you're getting out. And that's the issue with certainly a lot of overly restrictive diets. You might do the Cambridge plan, eating 800 calories a day, and you might love the fact, certainly at the start, that you're dropping weight so fast. It soon gets to the point where what you're putting in just isn't worth what what's the results you're getting. And when that happens, that's when the journey ends. Lose weight using my philosophies, and it will always be worth what you put in to what you get out. It just will be. It won't be the fastest way you've ever lost weight in life, but it will be the most healthiest, the most sustainable, the most consistent, and it will give you the biggest chance of long-term results. Okay, There we go. So that's building weight loss into your everyday life, as it were. If you want to come on plan with me, you want to join my community come and be involved with what I offer. I'll put all the bits and pieces in the description. So please go and have a look. Go check out my website, thereallossboss.net. That's where you can sign up to everything, my plan, my community. You can get a protein box. You can get workouts on there. You can get some merch on there. So if you want to grab yourself a Real Loss Boss cap or a Real Loss Boss hoodie, all available on the website. And that's it for this one. So until the next episode of the Real Loss Boss podcast, as always, make sure you are bossing your weight loss.